Funny story. Julian, after he lost, he was walking around with like a bag of groceries. And I was like, what are you doing? He's all like, just doing what I do best, getting groceries. He said, I'm the highest paid grocery shopper. I said, I'll take that position any day. All right, you ready?
Ready? Let's do it.
Okay. All righty. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. We are your hosts, Tyler and
Jimmy.
Tyler and Jimmy Miller. Are we a couple?
Miller. I think we're a thruple.
A thruple? With who's the third person?
I don't know. We're taking auditions.
All right.
Tryouts.
Thank you for tuning in to this show. We are thrilled you are here. Thank you to our title sponsor, The Pickler. We love The Pickler. Jimmy, real quick.
Pickler, the #1 indoor facility in the entire world. We're going to expand. We're going international with this.
Yeah, so Canada's next.
Oh, Canada.
And then
How'd I do?
some places down south are next in line, I believe. I don't think anything is official yet.
There's some talks. There's some talks in I heard somebody reach out and they wanted to open one in Costa Rica.
That would be fun. How's your Spanish?
It's muy mal.
Muy malo.
How's that? How was that?
It was great.
Yeah, your Spanish is good though.
Oh, it was so bad.
You actually told me to say a bad word to Pablo.
No.
Anyways,
Could never be me.
They are great. The Pickler, we love them. They're actually hosting. They're the host, even though it's not at a Pickler, but they're the title sponsor of the Salt Lake Pickler Utah Open coming up.
Yep, in a week.
You go to a Pickler, check out their facilities, and you will see very quickly why they're #1.
Yep.
They spare no expense. They think they've thought of everything. They tuck their lighting into their freaking sound baffles so that there's no shadows on the court, contrary to popular belief. The lighting, the black walls make it great to pick up the balls. I mean, they spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on research to make sure that they have the premier facilities.
Thank you for your support, Pickler. If you guys are interested in franchising or being a part of this booming industry, which is pickleball, reach out to thepickler.com and tell them that the guys at KOTC sent you.
Yes, if you want to franchise or if you want to just become a member, also you can sign up and tell them the boys at KOTC sent you.
Yep. Also, thank you to our next sponsor, which is Pickleball Central, the #1 online retailer in the world. They have the best return policy on all of their items.
Yes.
Our updated code for this month is KOTC 0824.
Yes, 0824. So the month of August, 08, the year 24. Not that hard. Check it out. Use that code. Honestly, we have the best discount available.
The best discount code available on most items. Some items it doesn't work on, but on those that it does work on, it is the best discount code.
Yes.
It supports us, and it's also giving you the best price.
Yeah, so go check out Pickleball Central. They have all of your online retail pickleball needs. I know that you guys are all freaking pickleball junkies, and a new paddle comes out, and you want to get it right away, or maybe you need a training device, maybe you need balls, maybe you need anything that you can think of pickleball related. They've got it at Pickleball Central. You want that new Titan ball machine? Check out our video. You can watch me get bagged a few times as I run across the court. But anything pickleball related, they have it. They have the new Proton paddles.
Yep.
They have the Vulcan Gen 2 balls.
Yep.
So pickleballcentral.com, use code KOTC 0824 and save some money.
Last but not least, for this segment, we have stackathletics.com. We love them. Incredible performance clothing made for pickleball by pickleball players. It was funny. We had somebody comment on our last video and said, you guys are lying when you say it's pickleball clothing. And, I get what they're saying because, what is a sports specific clothing like basketball that can be worn for working out, training, tennis can be worn for working out.
It doesn't mean you can't wear it for other things.
Exactly. But this is designed for and by pickleball players.
Yeah. They literally have a pocket in the back to hold pickleballs. It is made to hold pickleballs.
Yep.
Right? So that you're not chasing balls all over the court. Ball goes over the fence. You reach in, you pull out the ball out of the pocket. It's made for that. So yeah, it was engineered for pickleball players. All the Stack guys play pickleball. They love pickleball. They're big fans of the sport. And so they wanted to come out with pickleball specific clothing that fits. And it does. And
looks good.
And it looks good. And you feel good. And you know when someone's wearing Stack. It's not like, you're like, oh, that's a cool black shirt. What is that? Stack stands out. So you know when someone has Stack.
Use code KOTC at stackathletics.com. Thank you for your support. All right. Also, make sure to sign up for our free newsletter. It's in the description.
Pumping content out of that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Jimmy, there's so much content, so much drama going on in the world of pickleball. We are going to start with the MLP Waiver Wire, which just happened a few days ago.
Yeah, so it was on Thursday and Friday. So Thursday was premiere, and it went without a hitch. Nobody made any moves.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I thought there would be a couple teams making some moves here and there, but
yeah, there were some rumors of players being dropped and let go. Now, there was one move made on Thursday.
Yes.
The Los Angeles Mad Drops traded Blaine Havanier to the Las Vegas Night Owls. And that caused quite the stir.
Give a bit of background on Blaine.
So there's a rule, a little bit of background. There's a rule by MLP that states that if a player is put on long-term IR, injured reserve, you have to keep that player on your roster for at least 2 events. So Thomas Wilson's been injured. They picked up Blaine, and they kept Blaine on their roster for 2 events. So they kept Blaine he actually played 3 events, but BCO didn't count. But he was on their roster for Salt Lake, and he was on their roster for my mind just went blank.
Kansas and Salt Lake.
Yeah. Okay. And Grand Rapids, but Salt Lake and Kansas, he was on their roster. He went 0-6 in Kansas, by the way. Give him, poor guy.
Okay.
Anyways,
is that why the rules changed right after he went 0-6?
Yeah, that's the thing. So our understanding and the entire league's understanding, because like I said, it created an absolute shit show, for lack of a better term. So they end up. We assume that they don't own Blaine, right? Blaine is an injury replacement. He's a substitute. He's not a member of their team. They end up trading Blaine for Anderson Scarpa.
For cash as well.
And cash.
So they end up cash considerations. I do not like that.
Can be anywhere from 50 cents to $1 million. Actually, 200,000 is the limit.
Okay.
So they end up trading Blaine, which was weird. And most of the owners and GMs were very confused by this and very upset by this. Because how can you trade a player that's not technically on your roster?
Yeah. Let alone for cash considerations.
And for cash, yeah. So essentially, Blaine becomes an asset. And they get to keep Hunter and Thomas and everybody else. And that means they actually get to play. They actually have 5 players. Now, it's one thing to have 5 players when one of them is on injured reserve. It's another thing to have 5 players and you're allowed to trade one of them for cash. I mean, that just... To me, it seems like that's a massive unfair advantage.
So my question, was that in the rule book and nobody just read into it, or was it not in the rule book?
No, there's no rule about it because unfortunately they haven't. It's a new league.
So it wasn't even in the fine print?
No, because it's a new league, and so they're not like there's things that they're learning on the fly. And I understand that, and I'm totally empathetic to that, okay? But
this is the 4th year of MLP or 5th year.
Come on. So something like that. It's like if you never played fantasy football, right? Like literally, just get somebody who's played fantasy football and knows all the ins and outs, because these are the things that happen. You can't trade an injured reserve player for cash.
Yeah,
that literally gives Los Angeles Mad Drops 5 players, and so that was the weird thing. So I actually fired off an email and I said this doesn't make any sense, and then a bunch of other GMs and owners agreed. They said that they didn't feel like it was fair that they could trade him for cash, drop him, and move on. The other thing that makes it unfair...
Could they have kept Blaine and traded Thomas, for example?
Yeah, well, that's what I think most people expected. Thomas is actually on their team. So at that point, you get rid of one of your actual team members. Blaine was never on their team. Had they kept Blaine and traded Thomas... I think people would still be like, well, that still gives them 5 players.
Yeah.
But at least Thomas is an actual member of their team.
Yeah.
So, and here's the other part. One of the GMs who is a challenger, one of the owners actually of a challenger team, he responded and he said, the other issue with this is not only is Los Angeles collecting cash, but now the Night Owls are skipping the waiver wire and they're able to pick up a player
Yeah.
who essentially was a waiver wire pick, by trading for him, and they get better without ever having to go through the waiver wire.
Yeah.
And then what did the Mad Drops do with Scarpa? They just dropped him.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like Thomas ideally will come back because they don't play till October. So again, that's something that just needs to be fixed. It's a really bad rule, and what's to stop somebody? And I had an MLP executive kind of fire back at me a little bit snarky, saying you don't think that we research and make sure players are actually injured. But what's to stop somebody from saying, okay, well, let's just take the Black Bears. Brandon French, right? His wrist was hurt for a while. He's fine now, but his wrist was hurt. So what's to stop me from saying, hey, Frenchie, we're going to put you on the waiver wire or put you on injured reserve.
Yeah.
Go pick up another player, and then we're going to trade that player for cash and then take you off injured reserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then just continue to do that right before the waiver period and just stockpile cash.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So, again, I think that moving forward, I don't think we'll see that happen again, but we'll see.
Crazier things have happened in MLP.
Yes.
There's nothing else like it. Come on.
Yeah. So now we move to Challenger. We have the first pick. So we had a lot of people who don't understand what's happening with the Bears.
Enlighten us.
So we have Rafa Hewitt, right? Rafa is a staple in MLP. He is a solid player. I mean, him and Julian they played Christian and Hayden really tough over the weekend, which we'll get to that.
Yeah.
And then we had Susanna Barr, who we just barely picked up, and we traded them both. And I had a lot of people that were like, what are you guys doing? Are you guys just tanking? You're making terrible moves. No, you don't care about MLP. So let me just give you a little bit of insight into what the Bears are thinking. Okay. Number one, like I said, I love Rafa. Rafa is one of my favorite people. He's one of my favorite players, right? Rafa is also a veteran of the sport, and we are out of the playoffs. Okay. The bottom line is we would have to essentially go.
Well, you're not out yet.
Okay. We'd probably have to go. If you look at the actual numbers, we have 9 matches left. We'd have to go 8-1 with no dream breakers.
Hey, have faith. Come on.
So we're not mathematically eliminated, but it's a long shot. So what this does is, one, we trade Rafa to Las Vegas, right? It allows Las Vegas really wanted Rafa. It allows us to collect cash, number one, as a team. And then they traded us Mo Alhouni.
Are you able to say how much cash you got?
No.
$10?
But about 50 cents. So then we get Mo Alhouni, who we immediately cut. Shortest black bear.
But once a bear, always a bear, right?
Shortest tenure in black bear.
But
history.
once a bear, always a bear.
I mean,
so you guys are going to be going to dinner and stuff?
I mean, sure. Mo, come to dinner.
Does he get the apparel package and everything like that?
he might. Maybe
can you hand deliver it to him at the next event?
Yeah, I'd love to. I don't like cutting people. That's like the worst feeling in the world.
But with him,
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I mean, obviously I haven't talked about it, but I got like a message from him on Instagram just going off.
Wait, was this after or before?
This was after Salt Lake.
So it was before you guys picked him up?
Yeah, before we picked him up, going off on me, and he like started it off with a very personal insult.
Okay.
And then I think that there was a little bit of he didn't understand a word that I used on the podcast and what it actually meant.
What word?
The word boycott.
Okay.
Means like not showing up to something, like you're going to not play or not show up.
Okay.
I don't think he understood what that meant. I don't know. He never responded after I sent him the dictionary definition of it. But anyways, with that being said, he was not happy with me. And like I said, he started off the message it wasn't nice. Okay. So anyways, having to release him, unfortunately, wasn't the worst thing in the world for me. Okay. So we traded him. We got cash. So now Rafa is playing for a playoff. He's on a playoff team as well. Okay. Right. So now Rafa has a chance to go make the playoffs. Then we have Susanna Barr. Same exact situation, right? We're not going to make the playoffs, most likely. We can't keep Susanna because right now, based on the rules, you can't keep waiver wire pickups, which is crazy. But hopefully that gets changed. But right now you can't. Atlanta really wanted her. We felt like we needed a true left side girl to play with Amanda. Okay. Susanna is more of a right side She played left side admirably, but she's more of a right side girl. And so we traded her for Jeannie and cash. Again, we were able to collect some more cash. Cash considerations, as you like to say. So now our team, and then we took some of that cash and we signed Chris Hayworth, who is the top singles player. And we're hoping maybe we can recapture some of that Kwang Duong QD magic that, you know, he's been able to transform that singles, you know, prowess into, you know, MLP prowess, you know. And if Chris is able to kind of play the same way and drive every freaking third at the girl and mixed, like QD does, and just try and overpower people, we may have something. He's a solid player, and it's worth the gamble.
Yeah.
So now we go Hayworth, Hendry, French, and Hendry, by the way, are 5-1 in their last 6. For all of you that are talking about, you know, what are we doing? They're 5-1 in their last 6, and their record was much, much better than Rafa and Susanna's. That's not why we traded Rafa and Susanna as opposed to them. It was more because the truth of the matter is there's more because there's more value. There's more value to teams there. And because those are 2 veterans that we have a lot of respect for, and we wanted them to have a chance to make the playoffs. So that's what we did. We still think our team is very good. We still think our team is more than competitive.
What happens if you guys end up in the tournament?
Be awesome. Be great. Then I look like a genius, and I tell you all that you're idiots. But
you guys go 0 for 10 the first event and then somehow make it to the semis in
it would be
the
amazing.
PCO.
Yeah, and now we get to see Jeannie with Amanda, and Jeannie we can actually keep because she was drafted by Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, and Jeannie's, by the way, is 18th out of 48 players in MLP, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she's played a lot of events. So, again, that was our thinking.
Let's see what Dom, Susanna's partner, he was your coach.
Yeah.
So does he go with her as well?
So I don't know what's going to happen with that. We'd love to keep Dom, but it also doesn't. It makes sense if he doesn't. And I don't know if you know this, but Dom was actually helping coach Angie Walker and Jeannie beforehand. And so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Dom. I think that Richie needs to talk to him.
Okay.
So that's our new squad. A couple other moves. So Florida smash, drop Yates Johnson, and they pick up Donald Young.
Yes.
So Donald Young has had 0 double success.
Singles, he's done well. He's done very well.
He's done well in singles.
Yep.
I think Travis, again, he's a lefty. I think Travis wants to be able to play that left side.
Shocked he hasn't reached out to me yet, Travis.
I don't know. Well, you're on a team.
We'd actually do well, I think.
I think you would too. I actually think Travis is playing pretty good. So Donald Young, they pick up, and then they go and drop Tammy Emmerich, and they pick up Krista Getcheva.
Yeah.
So again, Florida.
Did somebody pick up Tammy?
And then Tammy, so this is, then Tammy immediately gets picked up by Frisco, who drops Allie Phillips.
Gotcha.
Now, this is an interesting thing. I kind of have a little bit of I feel like the waiver wire, there needs to be what they call waiver priority, and this is how it works in every other sport. Once Tammy is dropped by Florida, she has to go all the way through back from the start, and the teams at the top of the waiver wire essentially get first right of refusal instead of it just continuing in order, and then Frisco gets to pick her up.
Gotcha.
Right? Because then that takes away all waiver wire priority. That takes away any advantage you have of being the number 1 pick in the waiver wire.
Yep.
Right? So what they call that is they call that clearing waivers. And so what happens is you have to go back to the top. And then, so what they should do, in my opinion, so take note, Courtney, if you're listening, or Sameen, or whoever's in charge. Tammy gets dropped by the smash. Tammy is unable to be picked up until the second round. And then what that does is that takes all of that out of it, right?
Yeah.
Second thing is, if someone is dropped in the second round, then all you do is that person can't get picked in the second round. And now you have a third round, and all that third round is just a pass or pick up on that player, right? And that's all you have to do is you just say, like, Black Bears, do you want Tammy? No. Okay, Florida. And then you just go down the list. And then that's it. It's just very simple that way. Otherwise, by Frisco being able to pick her up 2 picks later, it just takes away waiver priority. It takes away any advantage that you have.
Yeah.
So Frisco picks up Tammy. Bay Area goes and gets Martin. So the whole family back in MLP.
Yep.
And then the other, what was the other? Was there one more?
I haven't been following.
And then Atlanta pairs up. They go get Emily Ackerman Cedarquist
for Walker.
For Angie Walker.
Yeah.
So now you have Emily and Susanna back together, who won an MLP together with Xiaomei and Todd. That's a really good team.
Yep.
The Night Owls now have Judith and Zoe.
Yep.
With Rafa and Blaine. That could be a very good team.
I'm a little bit interested with that because, I mean, after the first 1 or 2 events, Vegas was still top 2.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, Chris Patrick is putting his stamp on that team, and essentially, their guys' records weren't great. You know, I feel like they were winning despite their guys, not because of their guys. I do think Scarpa's a solid player, and so that was a little bit interesting. I do. I mean, and I know that Chris Patrick did.
So nobody's picked up Scarpa yet, right?
Nobody's picked up Scarpa. It wouldn't shock me if he got picked up. I know that he got shopped around quite a bit to people. So
what are GMs and owners looking for in these players when they're looking to pick somebody up? Is it more chemistry? Is it more
chemistry is huge?
Is it partnering them with the right partner on the team? Is it just overall?
So chemistry is huge. Are they left or right side player? Right? Because, I mean, we've done this in the past, right? Like where we put a right side player on the left and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You put a left side player on the right and it doesn't work. I mean, look at the fives, right? I mean, Mari has to play the left side.
Yeah.
She cannot play the right side.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's players that can make that work. There's other players that can't. So Zane is playing the right side in mixed.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one thing that you look at. That's kind of a big thing. Chemistry, scheduling is massive, by the way. Scheduling is huge. So Susanna Barr,
scheduling shouldn't be an issue in my opinion.
It shouldn't.
It should not be an issue.
It shouldn't. But because some of these players have APP carve-outs, it becomes an issue. Miami is the same weekend as APP in Southern California. Which, by the way, so like Susanna, I'll just say right now, Susanna can't play Miami.
She'll change it, I bet.
Well, APP won't let her. So they're going to have to get a sub, and that was part of the reason that our trade almost didn't go through. We had to figure out some other things and adjust some things.
Some more cash considerations.
Yeah, I mean, we'll reduce cash considerations because she's only playing one event for them.
Yeah.
And then the playoffs. So those are kind of the things you look at. And then obviously you watch a lot of film, and then everybody wants to hit a home run, Tyler. We're all trying to hit a home run. We're all trying to find that next Kate Fahey, that next Rachel Rohrbach, or that next, Kwong, that next, whoever it is. Everybody wants to hit a home run. And recency bias, we talk about it ad nauseum. That's another big word for me.
Big word.
Recency bias is huge.
Yeah.
And so if I get asked all the time, how do I get seen? How do I get looked at? You got to win events. You got to
break through.
You got to break through.
Yeah.
Right? Like, unfortunately, Chris Hayworth, here's a great example. He's freaking dominating in singles. Is he having great success in doubles?
No,
not yet. But in singles, he's dominating. So you've seen enough of him to be like, okay, this guy has the skills. I think he can be really, really good. And he's been seen enough that he can break through, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to. I mean, Augie had the massive run right before the freaking draft. Yeah. With Tyra and with, what was that? Mesa? He had that big run. And then, he gets picked up.
Yeah.
Is Augie night and day better than Xiaomei? No, I don't think so. But he got picked up because of recency bias. He was having that big run at the time.
Gotcha. All right. So that's the MLP recap for you. As always, it is ever changing, literally changing by week. Moving on to our next segment, we'd like to give a big shout out to the next sponsor, which is C&D Pickleball Nets. We had MLP a week ago, and they were using the C&D Pickleball Nets. Everybody loved those nets. They were awesome. And then for the PPA, they actually switched to a different brand. And a few players were not as thrilled about that switch. And so this just goes to show the quality, the love that all these top players and players all across playing in pickleball have for the C&D pickleball nets.
I mean, of all the, we've heard about the old Colin letter by now. And one thing that he didn't complain about was the nets. There was no complaints about MLP's nets in that letter.
Complain about everything except for the
every
nets.
Single thing under the sun. But he did not complain about those nets.
Yeah.
So C&D pickleball nets, check them out. It's not a better net out there.
Bestpickleballnets.com. Use code KOTC. It saves you money. It supports us, and it's getting you the best product out there. If you're ordering for churches, clubs, gyms, whatever it is, if you're ordering 5 or 10 plus nets, which a lot of people do, reach out to them, tell them that we sent you, and they will get you the best discount available. Yes. Thank you for your support, CND. All right. PPA KC. Kansas City.
So it looked like the temperature dropped quite a bit.
MLP was the week before, or not even the week. It was a few days before.
Yeah.
Super hot, pretty humid.
Yeah.
PPA rolls around, and actually the first day there's a little bit of a rain delay, pushes everything back 4 or 5 hours. However, there were clouds in the sky, and the temperature was like 75 degrees. It's perfect. It felt amazing.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Did you eat lots of barbecue?
When I was at MLP, I did, but not when I was at PPA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't go to Joe's or
Q39, dude.
Q39.
Yeah, Q39. Yeah.
Is that better than Joe's?
I never went to Joe's, but I heard mixed reviews that one is better than the other, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. So KC, I mean, the biggest thing about KC was that we were full of upsets. Mm-hmm. Lots of upsets. Are we still calling them upsets? I don't know. But
what's the technical definition of an upset?
I mean,
Isn't
I think the upset,
just the lower seed.
Yeah, when the favorite loses. Yeah, so I mean, technically, if one loses to 2, it's an upset.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think we saw some bigger upsets, like you know what I'm saying.
All right, walk us through, Jimmy.
Yeah, so let's go straight into, just because I think it was the best, it deserves the most attention. Let's go straight to mixed.
There are so many people that are going to these things. Parking, standing, seating, everything. They're busy.
It was high quality.
High quality.
Is that the word you're looking for?
No, it's not, but I used it and I think it worked.
Did you use it in the correct term? Can you use that in a sentence?
Quality is known for PPA is known for high quality. How's that?
There you go.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
PPA will love that.
So PPA Kansas City mixed. Mm-hmm. Okay, so mixed was on ESPN. ESPN 2?
I think ESPN 2.
ESPN 2.
Okay.
And it was Georgia and J-Dub Johnson taking on Ben and Anneli. Mm-hmm. So game 1, I mean, it's just a battle back and forth, right? Ben and Anneli end up winning. Game 2, Georgia and J-Dub pull it out, I believe, 12-10. Mm-hmm. Game 3, they actually lose 12-10. Game 4, they freaking battle back and they win like 11-6. So then it goes to game 5.
Okay.
And a couple things happened in that. One, I mean, you see what happens when Ben Johns is locked in. Mm-hmm. And you see that he could still be, he still is the best player in the world. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, there was a Ernie attempt by Georgia. Did you see this?
I did not know.
So Georgia went for an Ernie. Okay. Jumps, swings her paddle, literally misses the net by probably a good 8 to 10 inches. Uh-huh. Doesn't hit the net, doesn't hit the ball, nothing, right? Ref doesn't call anything. In the middle of the point, Anneli says, and this might have been game 4, I can't remember, maybe it's game 5. In the middle of the point, Anneli says she hit the net, and stops the point.
Yep.
So like now she's the referee, I guess, I don't know. But maybe it was just instinct. And the ref says, no, she didn't, gives the point to the Johnsons. Mm-hmm. And Anneli says to Georgia, don't lie. Stop lying.
Yep.
Right? Just be honest about it. And Georgia's like, I didn't touch it. The replay shows that Georgia literally is from here to this iPad from touching it. I mean, it wasn't close. And I don't even know how Anneli even saw it that close. So the next point, Georgia puts the ball into the net. Mm-hmm. And AL yells,
ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie. My favorite thing maybe in the history of pickleball happened after. Uh-huh. The crowd booed the crap out of her.
Out of Anneli?
Out of Anneli.
Okay.
Because they knew she didn't touch the net. Uh-huh. They knew that that's not what happened. And they weren't going to freaking let her get away with that. So not only was she wrong, but then she yells, ball don't lie.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just a funny moment that I don't think people really got on her side like she was hoping. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, but Ben and Anneli pull it out. They kind of rolled in game 5. I mean, they're just really, really freaking good.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we said, we see what happens when Ben tries.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of questions come in, Tyler.
Okay.
Is Ben's run over of Triple Crowns? Is his Triple Crown run over?
I wouldn't say it's over yet. It's looking like that, but if there's still one player outside Vanderlei that can Triple Crown the most or consistently, I'd still have to favor Ben. Even though Hayden's getting close, Fed's getting close, Tyson, he's there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it yesterday. I didn't realize this. I guess maybe
I mean, there's only a few players that even have the chance to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think you'd have to give it to him still. I mean, it's not looking good for him at this moment, but he still has the best odds out of anybody.
Yeah, like I said, I saw. I didn't realize that Tyson was like number 2 in singles or number 3 in singles.
He's probably number 4 or 5. There's no way he's 2.
But he's like 5 in men's doubles and 7 in mixed.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he was so high in those.
He's had a great year. He's had a really good year this year.
Yeah. Just looking at a few of these. So Lauren Stratman.
So Tyson is number 4, and then in the race he's number 8 as of now.
Okay, but that's just more based off of events, right?
Yeah.
Points. So just looking at mixed, just going over mixed really quick.
Okay.
So Tina Pisnik and Colin Johns lost to Megan Dazan and Andre Deescu.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an upset. That's a 12 beating a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Fed and Catherine beat Tardio and Lacey Schneeman. So that was actually a really good team.
That went 3. I think they got
go
bageled the first game. Or Fed and Catherine won 11-0 the first game.
Then lost 5-11 and then won 13-11.
Yes, that one was really close. I was watching that one in person.
And then Leah and Jack Sock end up beating Tyra and Dylan in 3, 11-9 in the third. It was 8-11, 11-8, 11-9.
Yeah.
I mean, just close matches. Tardio and Schneeman went 3 with Connor Garnett and Alex Trung. You did not play.
I did not do singles or mixed doubles.
In this one.
Yeah, only men's doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because you don't like sharing? You don't like playing mixed?
Exactly. I have issues talking to people of the opposite gender.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hunter and Paris beat Callie and Jay. Hunter and Paris were a 25 seed, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Callie and Jay 12-10 in the third.
Yes. Yep.
Which is another, and then they end up losing 4-8 to Ben and Annalie.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Ben and Annalie also, they beat Christian and Etta in the third as well. So I mean, yeah, Ben and Annalie are still kind of the best. You know.
Okay, let's just kind of bounce around. So singles, there were some incredible matches. Jaume played Fed, and that was an incredible match.
Yeah.
Anik Loani played Jack Sock. That was a pretty good match. Skipping to the finals. Well, let's go back one. Hayworth played CG in the semis.
Yeah.
And that was a great match as well.
Yeah. So Chris Hayworth pushed CG to the brink in the semis. He lost 11-7 in the third.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hayworth also had to play Rafa. So we were like, hey, the winner of this, we're going to keep.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We didn't do that. But Rafa beat Christian Alshon, wearing a Black Bear shirt, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hayworth freaking rolled through Dylan Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some just crazy singles matches. And then...
Do you enjoy watching singles?
Yeah, I do. I do enjoy watching...
Yeah.
I really do enjoy watching singles. Now, I'll be really honest. I enjoy watching men's singles a little more, and let me just tell you why.
Because you're sexist?
No, because it's played differently. Mm-hmm. Women's singles is played more like tennis, where they stand baseline to baseline and hit passing shots.
Yeah.
The women that come up to the kitchen line, the Leahs of the world, the Annalies, right? They are fun. They're fun to watch. I don't have any issue with that.
Do you like watching Salome?
No, for lots of reasons. Anyways, but they play more of that. You know, they use their length and come up and play more of like a pickleball type of singles.
Yeah.
Where some of these other ladies, you know, I mean, we watched Brooke Buckner and Caitlin Christian.
Yeah.
And it was like a tennis match on a pickleball court. Mm-hmm. You know, not that they're not great players and it's not entertaining, but it's just more like tennis.
Okay.
So, yeah, so Fed beat Jaume 12-10 in the third, we talked about. And then Tyson beats Fed in 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Fed actually loses in the bronze match to Hayworth. Mm-hmm. Hayworth wins the bronze. So let's talk gold medal match really quick.
Okay, CG versus TM.
CG Golden Pickles Tyson in the first game.
In 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
4 minutes, 38 seconds on one serve.
Yeah.
Beats him 11-0, which is incredible to do, especially in singles.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. But then, like, I can't believe I'm doing this, but give Tyson some credit for like mental toughness.
Yeah.
Because he comes back in game 2, like most people would be defeated.
Yeah.
And he beats him 11-2.
Mm-hmm.
He almost beats him as bad as he got beat.
Yeah.
And then CG bounces back. And this one it ended up being 11-2 for CG, but I felt like it was closer than that.
In the third? I thought
Yeah.
it was 11-7 or something.
Yeah, 11-2, exactly.
Really?
Yeah. But there was a lot of side outs and
Gotcha.
a lot longer match. But Connor
Were there
Garnett,
any birds flying around?
No.
No.
But CG wins men's singles.
Okay.
Gold medal. His first gold medal in 3 months. Tyson finishes in silver, and Hayworth gets the freaking bronze.
Okay. Love
So,
it. Congrats to all the singles players. Singles is no joke.
All right, men's doubles.
Men's doubles.
We have a new first-time champion on the PPA Tour. I think most people thought it was only a matter of time before he broke through.
Uh-huh.
Gabriel. Doesn't that mean angel in Spanish?
Hasn't he gotten a first place, a gold?
Silver.
Really?
Even when they beat the Johns, they would lose.
They lost to J-Dub and Dylan?
Yep,
Gotcha.
to J-Dub and Dylan.
Gotcha.
So, Federico Staxrud and Gabriel. Does that mean angel?
Yes. I don't know.
Tardio beat J-Dub and Dylan. Not only did they beat him, they curb stomped him.
Uh-huh.
Curb stomped him in 3.
Mm-hmm.
Opened their mouth, stomped on the back of their head like in
All right.
American History X.
That's about a bit violent.
If you've seen American History X, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, huge win. I mean, Fed. I think it's time that we have this conversation.
Let's have it.
Federico Staxrud.
Federico Staxrud.
He's the clear-cut right now, clear-cut without a doubt player of the year, isn't he?
I would say Hayden.
Even though Fed's got all the singles titles, he's got doubles
You're
titles.
right. I was going on most improved.
Yeah, most improved
Yeah.
Hayden, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if we go player of the year on the PPA Tour,
Yeah.
if it ended right now, it's got to be Fed, right? He's got a doubles title with Hayden. He's got a doubles title with Tardio. He's got multiple silvers.
How does that compare against Ben?
I mean, I think Ben still has more.
Well,
Ben
then
doesn't.
you'd have to go with Ben.
Ben doesn't touch him in singles.
No, he does. That's what he beats him in all the time.
I know, but what I'm saying is
in
overall.
medals. Yeah.
Well, look at
I'd-
the race. What's the race look like? Because the race is this year, right?
Yeah. Ben is number 2. Fed is number 5.
In men's doubles.
Yeah. Men's singles, Ben is number 2. That's going to
number
be,
1.
he's going to drop after this tournament. And mixed, yeah. You'd still have to go with Ben. But he's probably a clear number 2 or number 3.
I think he's right there.
Yeah.
I think that if I had to put I'd almost go Fed because he's not a quitter either. Okay. So, big, massive win for Fed and Tardio. I mean, dude, Tardio on the right side. This is how we've talked about this so many times. But pickleball is changing, dude. And the right side player is not just a guy to sit there, straddle the out of bounds line and reset balls anymore. You have to be offensive on the right side. And that's also why lefties are so huge. Like Ben was ahead of his time. He is a little stubborn, sticking with his brother, but he was ahead of his time in how big lefties are in the game.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to attack from the right. And who is the best in the game that's not a lefty at attacking from the right?
There's a couple of them, but Gabe is up there.
Gabe is up there.
Yeah.
Hayden's probably
Hayden's up there, yeah.
Right?
Christian can do quite a bit.
Christian is great from the right.
Yeah.
Ignatowicz, when he plays on the right, is
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And honestly, Tyson's pretty good on the right when he...
Yeah, Tyson, he gets a lot of balls back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so you've got to be able to attack from the right.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that... And one other guy that we're missing, the freaking OG, Matt Wright.
Yes. Yep.
Right? I mean,
there's others out there too.
But those are the guys that are having success and that requires more than just resetting balls and making dinks now. And that's kind of where the game is going. So congrats to Fed and Tardio. I mean, that's huge. Big wins. Alshon and Hayden played Ben and Colin for bronze.
They did, yes.
I think this needs to be talked about a little bit.
Okay.
So in that match, first couple points, Hayden drives and crashes, right? He would drive. Alshon
By the way, the live stream had the score completely flipped.
Yes, they had it flipped.
Come on, guys.
He would drive and crash, and we would see this from Colin. He just moved.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. Literally was making very little effort. It seemed like the first couple points he was, and then after that, he just made very little effort. By the end of the match, Rob Cassidy on the live stream was like pretty annoyed and frustrated. He was talking about how Colin was standing straight up, how he was walking to the kitchen line. He wasn't getting in any athletic position or even trying at that point.
Yeah.
Colin missed 6-7 serves. He started third shot and
Connor Garnett started teaching him.
Yeah. He started third shot and fifth shot lobbing from the baseline.
It's effective. AJ Kohler, he does it all the time.
Well, AJ's a different breed. And so I was watching it and I just thought, this is crazy. Like, when the announcers are starting to point it out, when the crowd is essentially going dead quiet because they're annoyed, and then you see every single forum start talking about it. Again, like, did he learn nothing from this email that he sent out? Did he learn nothing from the backlash that they got previously? They literally did not try in that Browns match. And don't tell me they did, because we saw what Ben looks like when he played mixed. And I would say Ben probably tried more than Colin. Ben, or maybe Ben not trying is still better than Colin trying. I don't know. But Ben at least was making dinks, but it was incredible. Like, I can't believe that after all the backlash, dude is still so stubborn and so full of shit, so full of himself, that he literally still doesn't put forth any effort in a Browns match. He's that far. He thinks he's that far above the game. And I don't know what he was annoyed about. I don't know maybe he woke up that morning and didn't feel well and they made him play anyways. I don't know. So unfortunately, I can't give him the benefit of the doubt because past history says they don't deserve that. But that was an embarrassment to the sport. Absolutely embarrassing. And it was embarrassing that referees have to show up to that. It was embarrassing that fans show up on a Sunday, pay money to go watch them play, and that's the freaking effort they give. Dude, it's a joke.
You're putting a big target on my back.
Well, honestly, I hope you never want to play with them if that's how they're going to be.
Because when we played them in MLP, they were definitely trying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But, I mean, honestly, like, congrats to Christian and Hayden, but that's a weird spot to be put in, too.
So what's the solution here? What can they do?
I mean, they've got to be fined. There's got to be fines or suspensions or something. Like, you can't just continually let them get away with this.
Yeah.
Right?
So
like,
how do you gauge that, though?
Just watch that match.
Yeah,
anybody
but
with a pulse.
That's very subjective. You can't just say watch that.
It's not subjective. Anyone with a pulse can see that Ben Johns is a great, great player. Probably the best player in the world. I mean, his legacy is getting tarnished by the second. But he's probably the best player in the world. And you watch that mixed match and tell me that in that mixed match, Ben was trying the same way he was trying in that men's doubles
There's
match.
Other factors that go into it, though. I mean,
sure, and he had a mixed match coming up that was that had a gold medal, and there was other factors, and that's why I think that he put forth more effort than Colin did. Colin, you had no other matches that day. You literally had nothing else to do that day, no other matches, and that was, like I said, this isn't just me like going on a rant about Colin Johns. Like, go look at. There's a 300 comment thread on Facebook about this before I ever said a word. There is. I mean, the announcer in the middle of the match is pointing it out, right? Like, that's the problem.
How much should the fine be?
I don't know.
And should it be assessed to the team or the individual player?
Well, this is a. I mean, I think both of them should be fined.
How much?
Right? I don't know. I don't know what PPA fines are. I don't know what the precedent is. I mean, Deskew got fined $50,000 for cheating. I would say not trying is honestly almost in line with cheating because it still affects the outcome of the game the same way. You're affecting the outcome of a match the same way Deskew did by cheating, by not trying.
If I was a Christian and Hayden, they're probably fine with them.
I don't think Christian and Hayden, but I also think Christian and Hayden were like, what the hell is happening? But the other thing I
was confused because I had it on the screen while I was doing something else, and I thought that Hayden and Christian were winning most of the points, but the score was
it was reversed the whole time.
So I was confused.
In fact, somebody made a comment about it in the Discord. And they were like, what are you guys talking about? Ben and Colin just kicked the crap out of them. It's like, no, the score was reversed. And like, so here's the other thing. The sport, the one way, like the big thing that to make this sport grow is gambling. Gambling will get the casual fan to follow the sport. Like, do you think people really give a crap about horse racing? Do they? Of course not. But they can gamble on horse racing. They can make bets, and it makes it more fun, right? You can gamble. If you can gamble on pickleball, you will get more and more people to follow the sport, to watch the sport. You cannot gamble on pickleball, and they will never have gambling if that's the effort you're getting from the top player.
Yeah.
Right? Like, can you imagine, DraftKings sets a line on that freaking bronze medal match, and that's the effort you get? Mm-hmm. I mean, they would take that line down immediately, and they wouldn't pay anybody any money. I mean, it would be an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And so you can't grow the sport if that's the effort you're going to get.
So you're saying fines or suspension. Do you consider at all getting rid of the bronze medal match?
No, because I think the bronze medal match is important for the fans. The fans want to see it. They begged for it. They asked to have them streamed. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think the bronze medal match is fine. It's not that hard to go play a bronze medal match.
Yep.
Plus, there's points involved.
Apparently it is.
Yeah, apparently for some people it is.
Okay, let's kind of bounce back a little bit. So I played with Connor Garnett.
Yeah.
We had a great match against Jay and Pat.
So you guys were down 10-5.
10-5 in the third.
In the third.
Yeah.
And I'll be very honest. So in the game one, you guys lost. Jay was on fire.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys played great.
We didn't play great.
Right? I felt like you missed a lot of bunnies. You and Connor both did.
Game two, we played great.
Connor more than you. Game two, you guys were nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think either of you missed.
I think we won 11-0.
Yeah, it was 11-0,
Yeah.
and it was literally like the Connor McGuffin match.
Yeah.
Like, it was 5 minutes. You guys were flying around.
Yeah.
You were just slaying everything. And then in the third game, Jay got hot. Mm-hmm. And they were, I mean, there's lack of a better word, they were busting you guys up.
Yeah.
They were, I mean, all the shots that were working in game two, they were getting back in game three. Even a couple, like there was a ball that was like I think you poached the ball, speed up to Pat, and Pat like just stuck his paddle out and misdirected and it landed in.
Yeah.
A couple balls Connor let fly over his shoulder that landed in, that you thought, that most people would think were going out. So you guys get down 10-5.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be very, very honest, Tyler.
All right.
Okay. Like, you are my friend and I'm biased, but you played the best 6 points, 7 points, maybe you've ever played.
No way.
You took over that match. You literally were all over the court. You didn't, I'm not sure, I mean, you couldn't afford to miss a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor played
there
well too.
There was 1 point. So they had 3 match points. And on one of their match points, so you know that highlight I had of me jumping up in the air and getting that backhand back? So I did essentially the exact same thing. And that was 4 match point.
Yeah.
And had we lost that point, had I missed that one shot, we would have lost. But we ended up winning that point, and that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I think Michael Lloyd was on the call. And he was like, whoa, what in the world? What is that the Tyler Loong signature?
Yeah.
Like, you guys came all the way back and you ended up beating him 12-10.
Yeah.
And it was demoralizing for them.
Yeah. So
Did
that
they say
was
anything
fun.
to you after the match?
No, I mean, I think Jay was a little bit sad, but I mean, I like those guys. I don't enjoy playing them, but we used to play them all the time. But the past 1 to 2 years, we haven't really played them.
Who
that
did
much.
Vulcan cheer for?
It was actually pretty funny because they were like silent.
Really?
They did not cheer for
Lucia
anybody.
and Lily were silent?
They were silent.
Whoa, what is going on
They
there?
had like duct tape over their mouth, and they were like,
They didn't cheer for either side?
No.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
I think they cheered for Jay a little bit more, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a huge game, and then of course I feel like for the 9th tournament in a row you had to play Dylan and J-Dub.
Yeah. We actually oh man. We were up on them. Yeah, the first game we were up on them. I feel like we should have got the first game, and then the second game we were actually down. They were up on us a lot, and I feel like they should have won that one quite a bit easier than they did, but it was 8-8 and we played them close.
Yeah.
But I think they're the toughest team right now.
Yeah, I think consistently they are for sure, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it helps that they play together. Mm-hmm. Where we saw Fed and Gabe, but we don't see Fed and Gabe. We may not see Fed and Gabe again.
Yeah.
Right. We saw Hayden and Fed. We may not see them again. We saw Hayden and Pablo. We may.
Though
not
I
see
will
them
say,
again.
I mean, Dylan, I think he's the top 2, top 3 player at this moment. He has not been playing that great the past 1 to 2 weeks. In MLP, he didn't do well.
Yeah, I don't think he did well in MLP KC. I thought he played pretty well in Salt Lake for the most part, but in KC, and then
maybe it's that home crowd.
Maybe he's a little nervous. He's a Missouri boy, right?
Exactly.
Go Tigers. So women's doubles.
Okay.
So women's doubles, it kind of went as expected in terms of the Annalie and Catherine, right? They did get a little bit of trouble from Coop and Jesse. Coop and Jesse actually beat Tyra and Glasman, which I feel like is a little bit of an upset considering how they played MLP. And Coop and Jesse also almost lost in the round of 32 to Kate Fahey and Allison Phillips. 12-10, 13-11.
Yep, I was there for that as well.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, and then they end up beating Tyra and Glasman, and then they actually, game 2 against Catherine and Annalise was 12-10. On the other side, Georgia and Mari beat Leia and Pisnik, so that's a pretty good upset.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised on that one as well.
Yeah. And then Jackie and Lucy. They have to play Lacey and Jade. Your brother played, he could have been a pro player. He was one of your first partners, right? Did you ever play against him in tournaments?
No, never in tournaments.
Could you, I feel like playing against your sister, especially your twin sister, it's got to be tough.
I feel like by now they're used to it.
I think they are used to it, and I think they know each other's game well enough. But I feel like maybe this sounds really weird, but almost like they root for each other even though they play against each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's got to be like a weird situation. But Jackie and Lucy had multiple game points in game 1, and Jade and Lacey had multiple game points in game 1.
Yeah.
And it ended up going 16-14 to Jade and Lacey.
Yeah.
Just a freaking battle. And then game 2, I felt like they were just like maybe gassed, and it was such a huge letdown to lose 16-14.
Yeah.
That Lacey and Jade kind of rolled in game 2, 11-3. So then Lacey and Jade decide, well, now we're just going to freaking try and win the whole thing. So they actually, they dealt with Megan and Etta pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then they get to the finals. And I know that it was that first game. So I watched that first game. And Jade and Lacey played as well as you could have played in game 1. They both of them were honestly, they were unbelievable. And it was the craziest thing in the world because it's like, man, they're playing so good right now. This is insane. And then you look and it's like 6-4.
Yeah.
And then it's like 6-6. And then it's like 7-6, 6-8, 6-7, 6-9.
Yeah.
And they lose 11-6. And at the end of the game, I'm like, dude, you guys, they just lost and they played really, really well. That shows you how good Annalie and Catherine are as a team. Because I promise you, Jade and Lacey beat any other team in this field.
Somebody on one of the forums came up with the stat of Annalie's doubles, and she is essentially almost like 100-1 matches won versus lost since 2-3 years ago, since she stopped playing with her mom.
So her and Catherine,
almost 100 matches in PPA. 100 matches won.
So her and Catherine are 98-1.
Yeah. And her and Anna were 30-0.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that is unbelievable. She was nuts. And like I said, that Lacey and Jade put up a great fight. The scores may not reflect it, but they actually played really well.
Yeah.
And then in the bronze match, Georgia and Mari end up pulling it out over Megan and Etta. So,
do you want to talk about Megan and Etta at all?
Yeah,
they're Utah girls, so we like to support them, but they got off to a really hot start this year. Really hot start. They were probably top 4, top 5.
Yeah,
both of them. And then since the past probably 2 to 3 months, they haven't had that good of a run. I think Meg's been a little bit sick.
Yeah. Granted, they did just finish 4th.
Yes. Yeah.
So they are, but they. I think Meg was sick.
Do you think they can? All right, let's just move on. Do you think they can finish the year off strong?
Yeah, I think that they're the clear-cut number 3 team when they're playing well. I think that it's Catherine and Annalie, Anna and Rachel, Megan and Etta. Now, do I think other teams will get up there from time to time? Will Georgia and Mari get up there from time to time if they play together? Sure. Yeah. Will, a Jackie and a Lucy, or Jackie and Jade, or Lacey and Jade? Yeah, absolutely. But I think that consistently, top to bottom, your clear-cut top 3 teams are Catherine and Annalie, Anna Bright and Rachel, and then Megan and Etta.
Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, our next sponsors of this segment is Vulcan Pickleball. We love the Vulcan V Pro Flight. This is the ball that they are using in all of PPA tournaments for amateurs and pros, and also MLP. So, as we always say, if you want to use that these tours are using, you've got to get this ball. You can buy it at vulcansportinggoods.com and use code KOTC, or also pickleballcentral.com using code KOTC. Yeah. Any issues with the ball?
I like the Vulcan ball. I haven't had any issues with it. I really think that they went back to the drawing board and they worked super hard to come up with something that works. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It stays in shape.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, there's going to be people, let's just call it what it is. There's going to be people out there that prefer a faster ball. There's going to be people out there that prefer a slower ball. I don't think anybody prefers a ball that's not round. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a perfect mix. I haven't seen, here's the problem, dude. Excuses are like a-holes. We all have one and they all stink.
Yeah.
And whenever you miss a ball or miss a shot,
oh my gosh, yeah.
It's not the ball.
Yeah.
Right? You
maybe sometimes.
Sometimes it could be.
But it's not every single time.
But not every single time.
Yeah.
And so stop blaming it. It's not your paddle. Quit looking at your paddle. It's not that your shirt is too sweaty. It's not that this court has a dead spot. And those things could happen.
Yeah.
But everybody is playing under the same exact elements, and everybody's playing with the same ball, and everybody's playing with the same everything.
Yeah.
Right? And again, unless you're using Annalise loaded paddle, you're all playing with the same paddles. So, yes, again, are there little things here or there that make a difference? Absolutely.
The thing I'll say with Vulcan, they're my sponsor, so obviously I'm biased, but they continue to innovate, and the amount of money that they're spending with this, not only this ball, but everything they do is enormous.
You think we can get a raise?
I know, seriously. But even though this ball is being in play, people like it, they're not satisfied. They're continuing to test out new formulas. They're continuing to test out new models, everything like that. And so the future is only going to get brighter with them. And so we thank you for your
brighter
support.
Than the ball?
No, this ball is perfect.
Do you like that color?
Yeah, the color is for sure better.
You like that way better than the yellow Dura?
Yes, and the yellow Dura, they had a neon Dura, which nobody understood why they didn't go to that one.
Allegedly, the neon Duras play different than the yellow Duras.
Yeah.
I don't know if that ended up being like an old wives' tale or what, but...
All right, thank you for your support. Go get it at vulcansportinggoods.com. Use code KOTC. It supports us and gets you the best price possible. Also, our next sponsor of this segment is Holy Performance. I like to say Holy Pickleball, but it's Holy Performance. Weather is still hot outside. Go get yourself some electrolytes, all the other nutrients.
Yeah. So they got
are they like BCAAs and everything?
Yeah, they got
like
BCAAs. They got the pregame.
Yep.
So that's kind of your pre-workout, right? They're zero sugar, all natural flavors. The freaking raspberry lemonade is money pregame. Yep. Honestly, it's so good, delicious. And then you've got your in-game, which is your hydration. It's got your electrolytes in there, and then you've got your post-game, which is your BCAAs, your glutamine, all of that, so that you can obviously recover after your workout. Mm-hmm. So it's got the entire system for you. Great flavors. It's actually a great price as well. It comes in like a nice little stick, so you can carry them in your workout bag. You can carry them on the pickleball court. Rip them open, dump them in your bottle of water. You're on your way.
Yep. Thank you for your support, Holy Performance. Use our code KOTC. Check them out. You need them in pickleball tournaments and also at the gym or just in life in general.
Yeah.
It's only going to help you.
Yes.
All right, Jimmy, getting into questions.
Yeah. Hey, before we start, real quick. Men's doubles senior open.
Yes.
Big shout out to our guy Althoff.
And he was with Steve Deacon.
And him and Steve Deacon. Yep. Big dub. Listen, if you ever get a chance, if you're ever at a tournament and you see Althoff, I'm being really honest about this, without bugging him and being annoying, just talk pickleball with that guy for 5 minutes, because he truly is a savant when it comes to the game. In fact, Althoff's story, just because it was his birthday too, not too long ago.
Okay.
Althoff, we were at TOC, okay, and you were playing with Glausman, and you guys were playing against Zane and Coop.
Okay.
And Zane and Coop, you guys were beating them.
Only for a moment, because they ended up winning the match.
They did win the match, and they won the match because Zane came over to Althoff, and he was talking to him between a timeout. Mm-hmm. And Althoff literally tells Zane and Coop exactly what to do against you guys. Mm-hmm. They go back.
And they do it?
And they did it. Literally, he kept saying, you got to pull Tyler out wide. Mm-hmm. Glausman's not playing big enough. Pull Tyler out wide. Mm-hmm. And then, go back behind Glausman. Yeah. Right? Which is kind of the opposite of what you think to do in a mixed match. Yeah. But he kind of had it reversed there. And he's like, Tyler will come out wide, and then you can go back behind Glausman.
Althoff, I don't appreciate that coaching.
And they did. And they came all the way back. And look what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Althoff he's just a freaking smart dude. And he's one of the best guys in pickleball. So big win. Shout out Althoff.
All right, we got some fun stories, and then we'll get into some questions. Also, we had somebody donate on our website, TaylorLoon.com. It's been a while since somebody has donated,
Yes.
but we are going to answer your question, Mr. R-Dub. Okay.
R-Dub.
He said,
not
hey,
J-Dub, but R-Dub.
He said, hey, gents, you guys rock. I got into pickleball because I was getting schooled by my mom and her grandma friends during the pandemic.
Okay.
Thanks for making it entertaining and fun. All right, he mentions a pro in here, and I'm going to blur out his name because I don't want to make this pro feel bad. But he says, how much does a lower level pro make these days all in? With big Papa Jimmy, not a typo, coming out to $1 million, it intrigues me. Some of my deadbeat washed up friends are trying to go pro in their 30s and 40s, and I try to tell them the ship has sailed with the newbie 20-year-olds coming into the fray. If you can't say his specific name, then just say a regular quali who never makes it past the round of 32.
Damn, no wonder you didn't say his name.
I hate to say it that way, but want to provide a realistic figure to them. Thank you and good luck this month. You and Connor Garnett are a force out there. Stay aggressive, play inspired, channel your best MJ attitude, and act like the opponents just wronged you. It worked for me back in the day. All right.
Okay. So
Thank you for the donation.
low-level quali guys. Okay. If you do not have a deal with the PPA,
That's very important. If
That
you
is
do
very-
not have a deal.
if you do not have a deal with the PPA and you're a low-level quali guy, it is costing you money. You're losing money playing pickleball right now.
100%.
You're losing money. It is costing you money. So let me just be clear. There are players who are making it through qualies. If you're playing mixed men's or women's and singles, you're probably paying about $400 a tournament just to enter.
I think it's closer to 500.
Yeah,
Just
the entry fees.
Just the entry fees. Yep.
And then on top of that, you have travel, obviously accommodations, etc. So you are losing money. And if sponsors are giving you anything, it's very, 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 very minimal because you're not good enough to receive a bigger deal, unfortunately. Second thing, if you signed with PPA, but you're a low-level player, you're lucky in a way.
Yep.
Because you are guaranteed a certain amount of money.
And most of those low-level players, the person that you refer to in this question, I would imagine they are signing from anywhere from 50 to 125 in that range.
Yes. So I've seen this person's deal. I know exactly what it looks like. And the original deal before taking a cut was right at 100,000. But then everybody took those pay cuts.
Yep.
So I would imagine this person is probably around 60 to 70,000 right now, which again, that's it. That's all that they're making. So if they play 26 events a year, how much did you spend on travel last year? Do you remember?
This year I have a spreadsheet.
Okay.
Last
Whoa.
year I have no idea. If I had to guess, granted I travel pretty lavishly.
Well, what have you spent this year?
Well,
Should we look at a spreadsheet?
it's probably 30,000. I don't know.
Okay, so say you're at 30. That's probably
Around
a good number.
there, somewhere around there.
You're probably going to finish the year around 50, I would guess.
Yeah, but once again, there's ways to do this a lot cheaper.
Okay.
You can stay at people's houses. You can,
Okay, but you got to think that if you play 26 events, you're minimum 30 grand,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that means that this player, if he's making 70, you do get $400 per event or $10,000, I guess, total for the year in travel. But that means that you're spending 30 grand minimum to travel.
What these guys are going for is, number one, pickleball is fun. I mean, that's why you have so many people coming into it. It's so much fun. And then number two is they're wanting to see if they can make it big.
Yeah.
They want to give it a try. They want to give it a go.
For sure.
And if you do break through like a Kwong or Christian Alshon or James Ignatowicz or something like that, then the reward is worth the risk.
Yeah, 100%. But one thing also, James is not making $1 million.
I mean, he went on record saying that. I bet it's close. He's doing so many camps.
Okay, maybe if he does like all of his camps, if you add his camps and everything.
Yeah.
But his contract is half that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree that, and plus he does have a paddle deal and things like that. So yeah. But here's the thing. This is like this happens in pro pickleball the same way it happens at your local rec, right? So you play 4-0 with all your buddies.
Yeah.
You think you guys are 4-0s or 4-5s, and you just blast all your friends. But the only people you ever play with are your friends. So you self-rate yourself and you're like, hey, I think I can go. So then you go sign up for a tournament, right? You play in this tournament, you sign up at the 4 or 5 level and you actually play real legit 4 or 5s and you just get hammered.
Yeah.
Every tournament I've ever played in, there's always that one team. And there's 2 things about that one team that you don't know. If there's that team you don't know, they either really suck and they're terrible, or it's some young tennis kids that think that they can skip levels.
Yeah.
Right? That's the way it works. Well, the pro level, it's no different. You have these guys who are playing pickleball every single day, and they're probably really good. They're probably really good 5-0s, and they're beating everybody around them. And they're like, gosh, I'm watching these guys play. I think I can hang with them.
Yeah.
And then they actually enter a pro tournament, and they realize in a hurry that the level is completely different.
Then the other thing I would say is consistency. There's some of these teams, even pro teams, they can lose first round in a tournament here and there. Ben Johns has done that first round, second round here and there. But for the vast majority of the time, they're going to be performing at this level.
You see the same people in the quarters, semis, and finals every single event for a reason.
Yeah. Our very first round, we played Patrick Kafka and Eric Onsens, who are actually really good players.
Yeah.
But we beat them. The score, I think, was 4-6 or something like that. And it doesn't look close, but those are good players.
Yeah, those are great players. And I promise you that they would go out and they would smack most people that are playing qualies and everything else, right?
Yeah.
I mean, our boy, Robert Slutsky, him and Sarah Williams took Jack and Leia 9-6. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Right? But again, that's a first round match. And those guys, like, it's just very, very, very difficult to break through.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you shouldn't. And we need more young 20-somethings coming to the sport. I mean, Will Howell's, he's a Notre Dame guy, came straight from college. Kate Fahey, right? She's a Michigan tennis player. Like, that's who you need coming into the sport. And there's some random dude out there that's probably really good at pickleball.
Yeah.
But just don't expect that you're going to make $1 million on day one.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Oh, by the way, you guys are incredible. If you made it this far, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button. At tournaments, you guys are stopping me, taking pictures and everything like that. And I love it. I love it. It's great. They're always asking me, where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? And that never gets old.
I get where's Tyler a lot now.
I don't believe that.
All the time.
But it's funny because some of you guys feel like we're best friends, and I'm best friends with you guys, so you can keep.
I kind of love that, yeah.
And I had these guys come up to me and tell me a totally hilarious story. They said, "Hey, we've got a story for you," and I said, "What is it?" And I told you. And do you want to repeat it?
Yeah, why not? I
don't care.
Allegedly, so this was told to us third hand, so rumor.
Yes.
Told to Tyler and told to me. So this guy works for, basically they went and they rented a car, rental car company in Kansas City. And the rental car guy, and I might butcher the story a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to be funnier if I tell it like this. So the rental car guy said, "Oh, what are you guys here for? What are you guys in Kansas City for?" They're like, "Oh, we're going to a pickleball tournament." He's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "We just got a car returned from a player." He was a top 10 player. He told us he was a top 10 player. So that's the funniest part, number one, is that this player told them he was a top 10 player. And he's like, also, man, he left that car a mess. And they're like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "He left condoms all over the back of the car." And they're like, "What?" Anyways, he's like, "Yeah, do you guys know who Riley Newman is?" And they just laughed and thought it was hilarious and felt like they needed to tell you. So, Riley, clean your rental cars, number one. Number two, you're never safe, guys. I promise you, you think you're safe, you're not.
People just tell us these
Even
stories.
the rental car people it's going to get to us.
Oh my gosh.
You're not safe. So, yeah. So,
do you think it was Donna?
Maybe. But also, if somebody asked, okay, here's a story. When we were in Grand Rapids, we were with that Uber driver going to the airport.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the pickleball tournament. And he was like, "Well, do you guys play? And I had to answer for you and say that you were a pro, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm a nobody. He's a pro, right?" And he was like, "Whoa." And he was all pumped. He's like, "I got a pro player." And he's like looking you up and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
These guys didn't have to because Riley told them that he was a top 10 pro.
According to these guys.
According to the rumor. I don't care if this is true or not. It's still funny. I hope it's funny either way. So anyways, there you go.
Tim Parks will love it.
Tim Parks will, yes, exactly.
All right, now on to the main questions. All right, we have a couple of these.
Yeah, so I got a question.
Okay, go
ahead. From Michelle, longtime listener.
Michelle Esquivel.
Michelle, not Esquivel, but Michelle from Florida, longtime listener. Michelle said, Jimmy, do any pros not want to play with the SQ because of the cheating scandal?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but we do need to talk about Andre's results seem to have fallen off.
Yeah, so he got suspended in Atlanta, and his 2 months was up, and so he just came back maybe a month ago or so.
Yeah. So he hasn't been great. The drive haven't been great at MLP, and he didn't have great results in PPA. I mean, him and Megan did okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think he got to the quarters with Matt Wright.
Yeah. I mean, they did okay,
but before then he was doing like semis or finals.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens in Bristol moving forward, and maybe there's some rust, but it does seem like he was kind of on top of the world, and then he was a little bit forgot about after that. So we'll see.
What are you in playing?
Well, I just think I'm not playing anything. I think that we're going to see if Andre can bounce back.
From what?
From the cheating scandal.
Is it a scandal?
I don't know. I think so. I would call it a scandal.
Did it happen?
Yeah, he got caught and he admitted to, I don't know if he admitted to it, but he paid the fine and he took the suspension. I assume that that's admitting guilt, unless he just didn't want to deal with it and needed a vacation. I don't know.
Okay. Any other questions on your end?
Yeah, I had one more.
Okay.
Why is Gabe, this is from, I won't even say who it's from, but how badass is Gabe?
He's cool. I like him.
Gabe, first of all, I love Gabe. Second of all, he is a badass. Third of all, I would say it's 50% Gabe and 50% that pickle paddle. And that'll give you an idea who asked that question.
I gotcha. All right. Yeah, Gabe is cool. I love that he was eating pizza. By the way, yeah.
Yeah. One more. I have one more.
Okay.
I don't usually get this many, so I broke a record. Is it possible to get AL in Georgia to stop screaming after every point? It is annoying beyond belief. Thoughts, Tyler?
I would agree. I don't know.
Are you a boomer over here?
Whatever. I will say Georgia, it seems like she's been a lot more vocal the past 4 to 5 months or so.
Georgia.
A lot more vocal.
I don't know if you're watching this. I think Julie watches. Hi, Julie. We should really talk sometime. Georgia, keep doing your thing. Okay, don't let anybody get you down.
The thing with her, and I feel like I do this too, but Georgia doesn't scream at her opponents mostly. No. It's mostly to her partners.
Yeah, she yells one thing.
Yeah,
one thing only.
Yeah.
What does she yell?
What? Yes or come on?
Yeah.
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 She yells it. She gets excited.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it, dude. Honestly, like.
So you're for Annalie doing it too?
Yeah, if Annalie wants to do it, I think it's great. Honestly, we would have never had the moment of Annalie saying "ball don't lie" and being wrong if she wouldn't be. Yeah, just get after it, yell it. The thing that I don't like is when it comes off as like kind of fake and contrived. Mm-hmm. But Georgia, it's like genuine. And who doesn't want to play with someone that's that pumped up for their partner?
Yeah.
Right. And I've always said that I'm okay with the trash talk. I don't mind it. I don't hate it at all. I mean, Hayden and freaking Alshon chirping with Rafa and Julian was one of the best matches. We didn't even touch on that.
Yeah. But
that was like great trash talk. And then the post-match interview when they called them a very, very mature team, mm-hmm. which I thought was really funny. Mm-hmm. Rafa calling Don Stanley Donald and saying, Donald, you're wrong about this. Like, that was funny. Like, that stuff makes it entertaining, and it makes it entertaining for the fans. And even though you knew Hayden and Christian were probably going to win that, mm-hmm. everybody wanted to tune in.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to questions. We'll try to knock these out quick. What grip do you use, and should you switch depending on the shot? So I use the Continental grip. It's like the handshake grip or the hammer grip. And one of the reasons being is I don't switch at all my forehand or backhand.
Yeah.
The Western grip is becoming pretty popular. Yeah. Kwong uses it. Yeah. And so it just depends.
Which a lot of people think Kwong was going to have to switch that mm-hmm. to go from singles to doubles.
I mean, what does Riley use? He uses that pancake grip or whatever for his forehand and backhand. And so I always tell people, whatever you do, there's going to be pros and cons. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. Yeah. Just I would suggest not switching around too often.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of players that are talking about how they switch now, depending if they're in the kitchen, they switch to different grip. If they're driving the ball, which I get that. And when you get to that level and that ability, then that makes sense for you to do. You know, it's all about feel. But yeah, like you said, whatever you're
Somebody said, who is better at Halo, you or my brother Brandon? I would definitely say me. All right. Why is calling for a timeout when you aren't in control of the ball allowed?
So that's an interesting question because in the NBA, you cannot call a timeout unless it's your ball. But in NFL, you can. Defense can call a timeout. Mm-hmm. I think that you should be able to call a timeout when you're not in control of the ball because how else do you stop the momentum? Mm-hmm. Chances are you're using a timeout when you're not in control of the ball.
Yeah. Why didn't Ben or NLE play singles this weekend? So there was a function with some of the PPA pros in Aspen, Colorado.
Hockey and
tennis and Lance Armstrong and
yeah.
So they were there doing that.
Connor Ogden raced Lance Armstrong up the mountain on an e-bike and still lost.
I believe it.
You see him with his helmet on?
Yeah, safety first.
Yeah, he looked really comfortable with that helmet.
Yeah, go Ogden, Og Dog. Why Hayworth with very little doubles results?
I mean, the thing is,
singles is a different game. It translates a lot easier to tennis.
It is a different game. I think one thing that we like about Hayworth is we don't feel like Hayworth has played with great partners yet. And so we would love to see him play with a guy like a Brandon French and play with a Genie. Mm-hmm. He played with Shelby Bates over the weekend and they lost, but I'm not sure he missed the ball. Mm-hmm. And Brandon French went and watched him and Brandon French was he was kind of on the fence. And after that match, he's like, go get him. Yeah. He's like, he did not miss the ball. He's really, really solid at doubles. You know, he didn't feel like they lost because of Chris by any means. Also, real quick, while we're on the topic of Shelby Bates, we just talked about Riley Newman. But anyways, the topic of Shelby Bates, she posted a tweet.
Yes.
About Jay.
Yep.
So Jay DeVilliers is getting a little bit of a reputation, hitting balls at people's faces out of anger.
Yeah.
He did it at Scarpa now. He did it at Ignatowicz.
Yeah.
Anna Lee Waters did it at him. And so he didn't like a call that Shelby, according to Shelby, he didn't like a call that she made. And so the very next point, he literally took a ball 2 inches off the ground from the kitchen, sped it up right at her face.
Yep.
She moved, missed him, and went straight to social media about it. Said, first of all, she said, with how hot paddles are. So congrats to Vulcan.
Our paddles are now hot, classified.
Vulcan paddles are now officially hot. And then, you know, she went off about it and said that it's not okay, blah, blah, blah. And then Jay commented. Did you see his comment?
He said, great playing.
Great playing today. That was it.
Yeah.
So do you have an issue with that from Jay?
I don't have an issue. I mean, I don't like it, but I don't have an issue with it.
You think it was intentional?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, 100%.
You think, now what happens if Jay does hit her in the face?
That's their point.
But what if, okay, but like what if she gets seriously injured?
She should be wearing goggles if she feels
like an intentional, but it's like an intentional act like that. What if she loses an eye? Like there was that lady on Facebook forum posted like her eyeball hanging out. And she was like, wear your goggles. And it was like hanging there. I'm serious.
I have not seen that.
It was serious.
Yeah.
So, I mean, should there be rules against that?
What, rules that you can't aim for their body, their head?
Well, I feel like part of the game is like that's a good shot.
Yeah.
Hitting someone in the body is a good shot. Like I get freaking bodied all the time. But what about intentionally aiming for someone's face out of anger? Like again, you can't prove their intent, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, she moved and went out of bounds. She got the point, so she wins.
Exactly. All right. Why does Jim Kloss always say he predicted everything and act like such a know-it-all?
Because he's a blowhard and he needs that validation in his life because he's not getting it in other aspects.
But have you not seen his track record? It's impeccable.
It's horrible because...
It's impeccable. He's the number one GM.
It's impeccable because he freaking twists everything into his own... What he does
is... He drafted the Night Owls, who are number one right now.
Draft them. What he does is he covers himself from both sides. Okay? So what he does is he says things like, you know, like, hey, Fed should really play with cardio or with Hayden or with one of these other up-and-comers. I actually think that they'd do really well. And then when Fed plays with Tardio, he says, as I predicted. Well, you said Fed should play with 17 different people. So, of course, you're going to hit the nail on the head as one of them.
Hey, he's smart. He's diversifying.
Yeah, so that's what he does. He doesn't do anything special. He also is very, very good. I will give him credit for this. Honestly, like sincerely, he is very, very good at pointing out the obvious and claiming that he's the only one that see that.
He's the only one to bring it to light.
He's the only one to bring to light that Ben and Colin didn't play hard in the bronze match. He's the only one to bring to light that Gabe Tardio was very good on the right side. He's the only one to bring the light that Connor Garnett has a very good Tui. Only one to bring the light that Tyler Lung has been drilling. So yeah, he's very good at pointing out the obvious and claiming it as he's the only person that's ever done it.
All right. Somebody said, many pros say the new gen paddles are bad for the game. Why not more of an effort to stop them?
Well, there's a little bit of controversy right now. UPAA, the new governing body, has actually approved some of these YOLAs.
Yeah.
The YOLAs that USA Pickleball, did not approve are now approved by the United Pickleball Association of America. What do you think about that? The YOLA opened the bag.
I think it was already opened.
So USA Pickleball says no to these paddles. And they tell them, sorry, that they're not approved. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing these paddles back in action at PPA.
They're crazy.
With the UPAA approved logo on them.
Yeah.
So Jason Aspis.
Lots of money being sent places.
Well, so Jason Aspis has said publicly, I believe, that he wants to essentially get those out of the game, right? Or at least a more of an even playing field, I believe. And yet now those are approved and he's in charge of that. So what do you think? Like, I don't know. I mean, he said that the testing limits would mean less powerful paddles. That was what he said. And yet all these paddles that were actually taken off the list by USAP are now approved by UPA.
Yep.
Is that favoritism? Did YOLA pay for those? There's
a lot of conspiracy theories that we could get into.
Yeah.
And KOTC is only about facts. So we don't
we're only about facts.
We don't like to discuss that too much.
I know that there's a couple other manufacturers that are not on the UPA. So YOLA, by the way, is on the UPA equipment board too. So it's a little bit weird. But they said that they were asked if they were given any guidance on paddles being approved, and they said they haven't been given any information, and they were told nothing's been decided yet. So how are these YOLAs approved by UPAA?
And that's a great question. I don't think we know. I know there was a long email sent to many of the manufacturers that were asking the exact same question, and they were not happy with it.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy. It just seems like I would love some explanation. It does seem like there's a little bit of favoritism there. YOLA is obviously a big sponsor of PPA. And so it's interesting that Perseus 3 is back with a UPAA stamp on it.
All right, we'll do 3 more questions. This one guy, he loves to rate the most attractive females in the pickleball game. We will skip that, though. Somebody said, whatever happened to the Camerons, Cameron Irwin and Blackwood?
Cameron Blackwood took a job with a different company. Tennis Channel, basically, they had that show with her and Manasseh, and it kind of like fizzled out. And I think they just didn't renew her deal. So she's with some other sports company. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, it's out in Georgia, I believe.
In Georgia, she actually moved.
Yeah.
I can't remember, Berserk or Beezer. I don't even know what it's called. But she's doing stuff with them now. And then Cam Irwin has always done stuff with the Rams. So during football season, she's not around anyways.
She did one recently, like a month or two ago.
She did DC, actually.
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah. So I think she still does it every now and then, but not nearly as frequently as she used to.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do 2 more. How close we kind of talked about this earlier. How close is Fed to passing Ben as the number 1 player on the male side? It depends on what you mean. If you're just going off of pure ranking, he's probably fairly close. But if you're talking about individual talent, I think there's still a gap, I would imagine.
What if Ben continues to not try?
It would be tough to say because that's him not trying.
Oh, that's true. Maybe that's why. Maybe he feels like it's one of those things where it's like, you can't fire me, I quit. So like, Fed, you can't pass me because I'm not putting forth the effort. So you can have the title.
I think there's Fed has had an incredible year, but I think there's probably a couple other players that are maybe a little bit closer.
Yeah.
In terms of talent or individual stuff. J-Dub, Dylan, Hayden.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is Hayden is 18. He turns 19, I believe, next month or this month. It's either August or September.
Okay.
Tardio is what, 18?
Yeah.
Dylan is 21, 22. J-Dub's 22. So these guys are very, very young. I mean, Ben's still only 25 or 26.
He's got to be 26 now.
Yeah. I mean, so these guys are still young.
Yeah.
Like Fed, it was funny because Fed was like, yeah, it's weird. I'm the old guy.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Last thing we'll discuss or talk on briefly, PickleCon, Pecan.
PickleCon.
So
yeah,
it's an interesting concept. It's the first event, trade show, convention that I'm aware of specifically for pickleball. And they kind of tied it into the NPL, the senior league, right? NPL?
Yeah, the MPL.
NPL. And then there was also another kind of tournament running in conjunction. It was cool. They had a ton of courts. It was running at the exact same time as PPA. And so I think that took away quite a bit of spectators.
Yeah, I think putting it in that location was smart because, again, there's PPA and MLP back-to-back. Mm-hmm. But it does make it tough to go to both, right?
I don't know why they didn't try to do something. Maybe they did try to do something, but do something with PPA at the same place.
Yeah,
that would have attracted.
That would have made people. That would have made it a lot better if they could have kind of.
But I did hear. I mean, this was an outside group that they were pretty pleasantly surprised with the turnout for it being a first year, and so I think they were going to make changes and then make it even better next year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's. There was the Vegas one, the World Pickleball Convention or whatever that was. I think all of these things are just going to help grow the sport, help inject new money into it. We've talked to a couple of people, and one of the things that they said is a lot of the people that are coming into pickleball are not pickleball players. Mm-hmm. They're not pickleball fans. They're not pickleball people. They're realizing that there's an opportunity there to make money. And so I think that actually is good for the sport. Yeah. Because it's going to inject new money into the sport.
Yep.
So,
all right. If you guys have made it this far, please do us a big favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Jimmy, if this video gets 122 likes or more, we'll make a new video.
Okay.
How's that?
122?
Yeah. 122.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. This week we have Bristol.
Once again, Motor Speedway.
I am only doing men's doubles for myself.
You're
not
only
doing
flying
singles.
First class to Tri-City.
That place, $1,300 to fly there.
Well, but
$1,300.
The airport is sponsoring the tournament.
$1,300. That's
crazy.
Man.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Bristol, Tennessee?
I have not been to Tennessee at all. But no, I have. I lie. I've been to
Knoxville.
Knoxville
is where Tennessee Volunteers are.
I'm not sure.
Isn't Bristol like close to North Carolina?
It's like on the border.
Like Boone.
Yeah.
Boone, North Carolina.
I heard they have a street that is literally one side of the street is Tennessee, then the other one is the other one.
That's maybe why it's called Tri-Cities, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a Bristol, Connecticut too.
Wow. I'm sure there's other Bristol places.
I hope people don't fly into the wrong spot. Bristol, Connecticut's home of ESPN.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they have headquarters there, or that's just where it started?
That's their headquarters.
Really?
Yeah, Bristol, Connecticut.
Interesting. So, okay. This one was a long one.
Always is.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Thank you for following along. We will catch you guys next time.